Music's supposed to go through.
Oh, still.
So that's my disclaimer, but the reason I decided I have to give this speech really is because my wife, who's a very intelligent person, who's an accomplished writer and reader, said to me one day as we're looking at a piece of artwork, they're supposed to say words? Really? So I'm going to tell you today about graffiti, and really that writing is the core of graffiti. Many of you probably don't know that the word graffiti is plural. The core, the root word is graffito, which means a drawing or writing scratched on a wall or other surface. So it goes all the way back to ancient times. But in modern graffiti, probably started with Kilroy. In World War II, the legend is that there was a guy who worked in the bomb factory, and it was the QA guy who scratched Kilroy on the edge of every bomb. And once they were dropped, soldiers picked it up and started saying Kilroy is here wherever a bomb was dropped. In 60s Philadelphia, Cornbread and Cool Earl had started battling with graffiti and trying to outdo one another. Legend is that they had a battle to see who would be the first one to tag an airplane on the runway. But when it got to New York, the subway really made it take off, and the invention of spray paint really made it take off. Style Wars, the hip-hop documentary, chronicles the New York hip-hop culture and in the subway culture. A few years later, Beat Street was a dramatic attempt to capture that with Radon Chung and these two really tough guys. And some really weak rhymes, such as, each and every time you touch a spray paint can, Michelangelo's soul controls your hand. But this really was the beginning of things getting complex, to the point where it's not just tagging, and the competition wasn't to see who could be the most, but who could be the most complex. And people even started having to sketch their artwork before they put it up on the walls. It moved from throw-ups and tags to bombers. If you meet a graffiti artist, there's one thing that you need to know. And the question you ask a real graffiti artist is, what do you write? Because real graffiti artists call themselves not artists, but writers. So remember that. What do you write? So what we're going to do today is a little exercise, which is, what can you read? I'm going to show you some pieces of art and see if you can read them. If I show a work of your own art, please don't participate. But if you can actually read it, shout it out. Tell me what it says. Well, here's a couple tips. First of all, they're usually misspelled. Second of all, there might be more than one word that looks like one word. Ignore arrows, they're there to confuse you. Look for colors and outlines. Look for shadows. Look for connections in the letters, okay? First one. If you've seen this, if you commissioned this, don't participate.
Sprout box.
Sprout box. This is a piece that was commissioned by my company, Sprout Box, and it's a sneak peek of what you'll see at our new office. It actually says Sprout Box. That's a local artist, Mike Birchfield, whose tag you might see around as Brisk. So the next one. It's another indoor work of graffiti art. An interesting medium because it's got canvas and directly on the wall. And this is a growing phenomenon in gallery graffiti. Revoke. Again, it's misspelled. Typically, a piece of graffiti art is going to be the name or the word that the artist carries, and it's going to be the same every time they do it, the same word in different styles.
This is
Patio.
patio. Sounds like Wheel of Fortune. Scraps. Rasputin.
Pursue is the name of this artist. P-E-R-S-U-E. Again, not the traditional spelling. So you always got to look for that. Interestingly here, he's tried to trick you. And notice that the P doesn't look like it's connected, but it really is. They'll cheat, but they'll never really break the rules. This is a complex one. On a train, the way it used to be.
Miasma.
I'm missing it.
Quest is the name of this artist. As you can see, the whole point has become to see who can have the most complex letters. And what began as a simple competition to see who could have the most tags, who could go all city, as they used to call it, if you had tags in all 5 boroughs in New York City, now has turned into what has become a very legitimate and valuable art form. You see here 2 walls in Bloomington, both of which are permission-based walls. These are commissioned works of art, where the artists are gaining permission from the property owners, and in many cases being paid for their work. Thanks.